Leo never expected his quiet life as a space engineer to end with a royal summons. He had built ships, repaired satellites, and even survived a pirate ambush once. But nothing prepared him for this. When Earth's United Coalition received a message from the alien planet Zevria asking for a human delegate, Leo was chosen. Why him? No one really knew. He wasn't a soldier or a diplomat. He was just Leo, but they sent him anyway. His journey was long. The shuttle flew past red stars and asteroid fields, moving deeper into a part of space humans rarely visited. Zevria was unlike anything he had seen. Its skies were deep purple, and the planet glowed with strange colors. Towers floated in midair. The wind carried a faint hum, like music only machines could hear. As soon as Leo landed, he expected guards or officials. Instead, he saw her. The alien queen stood tall, her presence calm but powerful. Her skin shimmered with a soft bluish tone, and her silver eyes locked onto Leo with interest. Her guards bowed as she approached, but she didn't stop to speak to them. She walked straight to him. "So, you're the human," she said. Leo tried to bow, a little clumsily. "Yes, ma'am. I mean, Your Majesty." She didn't laugh, but her lips curled slightly. "I am Kalira, Queen of Zevria. And you're not what I expected." Leo straightened up. "I could say the same." Kalira turned and walked away. "Come. We have much to do. I hope you're not one of those humans who gets tired easily." Leo blinked and followed her, wondering what much to do really meant. The palace wasn't like the ones in Earth's stories. It was more like a living machine. Walls shifted to open doorways. Floors hummed underfoot. Giant windows looked out onto floating islands and rivers that ran through the sky. Leo was still trying to take it all in when Kalira led him into a massive hall. "This will be your training ground," she said. "Training? I thought I was here for peace talks." Kalira looked at him with a raised brow. "Peace is not given, human. It is earned. And I need to know what kind of strength your people carry. You will show me." Before Leo could protest, the floor beneath him lit up, and suddenly he was standing in front of a tall platform. A strange device dropped from the ceiling, like a giant cube with symbols glowing on its sides. "Push it," she said. Leo walked up to the cube. It didn't look that heavy, but as he placed his hands on it, he realized it was solid. He pushed hard. Nothing happened. He pushed again, using both arms, legs, even leaning into it with his body. Still nothing. He turned around, breathing heavy. "It's heavier than it looks." Kalira stepped forward. "Good. It means you'll have to work harder." That was just the beginning. Over the next few hours, Kalira put him through test after test. Run through obstacle courses, climb smooth walls, solve complex puzzles while balancing on moving platforms. Each time he paused to catch his breath, she tilted her head. "You can't be tired already," she said. "We've only just started." Leo grit his teeth. "This isn't normal diplomacy, is it?" "It is how Zevria understands trust," Kalira replied. "Words mean little. Action reveals truth." By the end of the day, Leo collapsed near a fountain in the palace courtyard. His arms were sore. His legs burned. Even his mind felt like it had been pushed too far. Yet Kalira stood over him, calm and curious. "You did better than expected," she said softly. "Most humans would have given up." Leo sat up slowly. "I wanted to. Believe me. But I don't like giving up." For the first time, Kalira's expression changed. Not cold, not testing. Something almost thoughtful. "Rest for now," she said. "But not for too long. Tomorrow we begin again." As she walked away, Leo leaned back and looked up at the alien sky. The stars seemed closer here. Everything was strange. Everything was intense, but a small part of him liked it. Maybe he wasn't just a repairman anymore. Maybe he was meant for something more. He just hoped his legs still worked in the morning. Leo woke up with pain in places he didn't know could hurt. His arms felt heavy, and his legs ached like they had run across a mountain range. For a moment, he thought it had all been a strange dream, until he opened his eyes and saw the tall alien tower stretching into the purple sky above. The palace was real. The queen was real. And the pain, very real. Before he could sit up, a soft buzzing sound echoed in his room. A floating sphere, like a small robot with wings, hovered beside him. "Training begins in 15 minutes, it said in a calm voice. "You will meet Queen Kailira in the main chamber." Leo groaned. 15 minutes. Can I at least brush my teeth first? The sphere didn't answer, it just floated away. Leo dragged himself out of bed. A fresh set of clothes had been placed near the doorway. They were light, flexible, and unlike anything from Earth. Yet they fit perfectly. Once dressed, he made his way through the smooth, shifting hallways until he reached the training chamber again. Queen Kailira was already there, waiting beside another massive cube, this one glowing with red lines. "You survived the night," she said. "That's a good sign." Leo rubbed his shoulder. "Barely. What's next?" "Lifting an entire mountain." Kailira smiled, just slightly. "Today's challenge is not about strength. It's about your will." The floor changed beneath Leo's feet. Hexagonal tiles formed a giant maze, and in the center floated a small crystal sphere. Kailira pointed at it. "Reach that sphere, but remember, the path moves. You must adapt. The one who adapts fastest survives longest." Leo raised an eyebrow. "Sounds like a game." "Then play to win," Kailira said, stepping back. The moment he stepped onto the first tile, the maze shifted. Walls rose and fell, tiles spun in place, and small drones buzzed in the air, firing harmless but distracting flashes of light. It was like a living puzzle. Every time Leo thought he found the right path, the floor changed again. At first, he got frustrated. He stumbled. He even shouted once when the path reset just as he reached the halfway point. But then he remembered something his old instructor once told him during his training days on Earth. Don't fight the system. Learn its rhythm. So Leo started watching the patterns. He timed his steps, moved with the tiles, not against them. Slowly but surely, he made progress. After what felt like an hour, he finally reached the crystal sphere and touched it. The maze stopped moving. The drones returned to their nests. Kailira clapped once, her face calm but eyes bright. "Well done," she said. "You learn quickly." Leo dropped to his knees, breathing hard. "I'm not even sure how I did that." "You stopped resisting. That is a rare skill." She walked up to him and offered a hand. Leo took it, surprised at how warm it felt. She helped him to his feet. "I thought you were testing my body," Leo said. "I am," she replied. "But I'm also testing your mind." They walked together through the garden corridors. Strange plants glowed softly as they passed. The air was calm, and for the first time since arriving, Leo felt almost relaxed. "Why are you really doing this?" he finally asked. Kailira looked up at the sky. "Zevria is changing. There are threats rising both inside and outside our borders. I cannot face them alone. I need an ally who does not think like us, someone who sees problems differently." Leo tilted his head. "You mean a human?" "I mean you," she said. They stopped near a tall tree that shimmered like glass. Kailira touched its trunk gently. "Our people were once proud. Now we hide behind tradition and titles. You humans are strange, chaotic, but you move forward. Always. You rest, but only to rise again stronger." Leo let her words sink in. He had always seen himself as average, just another worker trying to fix broken things. But here, he was being treated like something special. "You still don't know me," he said. "No," she agreed, "but I'm learning." Just then, the peaceful moment was broken. A guard approached quickly, speaking in the alien tongue. Kalira's face turned serious. "What's wrong?" Leo asked. "We'd have a problem," she replied. "There was a message intercepted. Some of my council members believe you're a danger." Leo's stomach tightened. "A danger?" Kalira nodded. "They want to remove you. Publicly. Through a trial of honor." Leo stared at her. "You mean a fight?" "Yes," she said. "And I cannot stop them. Only you can prove them wrong." Leo couldn't believe his ears. The council wanted to remove him. He had only just started to understand this strange alien world, and now he was being thrust into another fight. "Why?" he asked, his voice steady despite the rising tension in his chest. Kalira stood tall, her expression unreadable. "You are a symbol. The council doesn't trust you, or humans in general. They believe you are too dangerous." "Dangerous?" Leo repeated, confused. "I'm not here to start trouble. I'm just—" "I know," she interrupted, her voice soft yet firm. "But they see you as a threat to their power. They think you could undermine their rule." Leo shook his head. "I'm no threat to anyone." "I know," Kalira said again, this time with a small, almost regretful smile. "But they don't care what you know. They care about what you can do. And right now, you're too valuable for them to leave unchecked." Leo took a deep breath, trying to calm his nerves. "So, what happens now? Do I fight someone?" Kalira looked at him, her eyes intense. "Yes, you must prove your worth to them. The trial will test your strength, your resolve, and your ability to survive. If you pass, they will leave you alone. If not—" She didn't finish, but the meaning was clear. Leo stood tall, determination settling into his bones. "Fine, I'll fight." Kalira nodded, her eyes never leaving his face. "Good. But remember, this is not just about winning. It's about surviving and showing them that you won't be controlled." As they walked through the palace halls, Leo tried to steady his thoughts. He had no idea what kind of trial he was about to face, but he wasn't going to back down. He had come this far, and he wasn't going to let some council stop him now. They entered a large, circular arena. It was a massive open space, with tall walls that seemed to stretch endlessly upward. At the center, a group of warriors was gathered, their weapons in hand. Leo could feel the tension in the air, the weight of the eyes on him as he stepped into the arena. The crowd was silent as Kalira led him to the center. There, a tall, imposing figure stepped forward. He was clad in dark armor, his eyes hidden behind a metal mask. "This is Istrak," Kalira explained. "He is one of the council's top warriors. If you can defeat him, you will have proven your worth." Leo looked at the warrior, his heart racing. Istrak was a giant compared to him, a wall of muscle and armor. Leo wasn't sure if he could even land a blow, but he couldn't back down. Istrak raised his weapon, a long, curved blade that seemed to shimmer in the light. The crowd around them began to murmur in excitement. Kalira stepped back, her voice calm and commanding. "The trial begins." Leo and Istrak circled each other, sizing each other up. The giant warrior's movements were slow but deliberate. Leo could feel the weight of every step he took. He needed to think fast. The first mistake could be his last. Without warning, Istrak lunged forward, swinging his blade in a wide arc. Leo barely managed to dodge, rolling to the side. His heart pounded in his chest, but he was faster than Istrak. That was his advantage. Leo didn't hesitate. He scrambled to his feet, looking for an opening. He had trained for situations like this, but nothing could prepare him for the intensity of the moment. Istrak swung again, and Leo ducked just in time, narrowly avoiding the deadly blade. The fight continued, each move a test of strength and skill. Leo was smaller, but he was quick. He darted in and out of Istrak's reach, landing small hits whenever he saw an opportunity. But Istrak was relentless, his strikes coming faster and harder with each passing moment. Leo's arms were starting to tire. He had never fought anyone like this before. The warriors' attacks were brutal, each one meant to end the fight quickly. Leo's mind raced. He needed to find a way to outsmart him, to turn the tide in his favor. Then it happened. Istrak made a mistake. For just a split second, his guard dropped. Leo saw his chance. With all the strength he could muster, he charged forward, using his smaller size to his advantage. He ducked under Istrak's outstretched arm and landed a blow to his side. The crowd gasped. Istrak staggered back, his blade slipping from his hand. He glared at Leo, his mask hiding the rage in his eyes. But Leo didn't back down. He stood tall, his chest heaving with exhaustion. "I'm not going down that easily," he said, his voice steady despite his fatigue. Kalira's voice rang out across the arena. "Enough." Istrak took a step back, his eyes still fixed on Leo. But he didn't make another move. The trial was over. Kalira walked forward, her gaze proud but still calculating. "You have proven your worth, human." Leo barely had the energy to stand, but he managed a small smile. "I guess I'm not so weak after all." The crowd erupted in applause, but Leo could hardly hear them. He was too busy trying to catch his breath. Leo stood in the middle of the arena, sweat dripping down his face, his chest rising and falling with each shallow breath. His body ached from head to toe, but there was a spark of something inside him. Something he hadn't felt in a long time. Victory. The crowd was still cheering, but to Leo, it all felt distant. He had just defeated Istrak, one of the most skilled warriors on Zevria. And yet, instead of feeling proud, he felt something else. Exhaustion. His legs trembled as he made his way toward Kalira. She stood at the edge of the arena, her eyes intense, watching him carefully. "You did well," she said, her voice steady and calm. "But you're not done yet." Leo raised an eyebrow, a small smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. "I thought." But the trial was over. Kalira stepped closer, her gaze never leaving his. "That was only the first challenge. Now you must prove your worth to the council. They won't be satisfied with just a fight. They will want to see if you can endure, if you can survive." Leo felt his heart skip a beat. Survive. He glanced at the warriors still watching from the sidelines. "How much more of this can I take?" "You will take whatever is required," Kalira said, her voice unwavering. "The real test is your spirit, your will to keep going when everything inside you tells you to stop." Leo was silent for a moment, the weight of her words sinking in. It wasn't just about physical strength, it was about mental strength too. He had made it this far, but could he keep going? Could he endure whatever came next? Kalira reached out and placed a hand on his shoulder. "You're stronger than you think, Leo. I see it in you." Her words felt strange, comforting even, but Leo didn't have time to think about them. He needed to focus. There was still so much to prove, and he wasn't about to back down now. "Let's get this over with," he said, his voice firm. Kalira nodded, turning toward the exit of the arena. "Follow me." They walked through a narrow hallway and entered a large, dimly lit room. The walls were covered with strange symbols, and the air was thick with the scent of incense. In the center of the room stood a large stone pedestal, upon which rested a glowing crystal. "This is the Heartstone," Kalira explained. "It is a relic of great power, and the key to Zevria's survival. You will have to protect it from the enemies that will soon come." Leo looked at the stone, his eyes narrowing. "Enemies?" "Yes," Kalira said, her voice cold. "They are coming for the Heartstone, and you must defend it." Before Leo could respond, the room shook. The sound of distant explosions echoed in the air. Kalira's eyes flashed with urgency. "They're here," she said. "Get ready." Without warning, the room's walls slid open, revealing dark figures emerging from the shadows. The creatures were unlike anything Leo had ever seen, tall with long, clawed arms and glowing red eyes. They moved quickly, silently, as if they were made of darkness itself. Kalira stepped back, watching as Leo faced the creatures. He didn't know what to expect, but he had no choice but to fight. The first creature lunged at him, its claws slashing through the air. Leo ducked, barely avoiding the strike, and countered with a punch to its side. It hissed, recoiling, but didn't back down. Leo had fought many times before, but this felt different. These creatures weren't just strong. They were fast and unpredictable. They seemed to move as one, each anticipating the other's movements. Another one attacked, and Leo narrowly avoided its swipe. He stumbled back, his feet sliding on the smooth floor. He could feel his body starting to slow down. The fight was taking more out of him than he had expected. Kalira didn't move to help. She stood at the back of the room, watching, her eyes locked on Leo. He realized she wasn't just watching him fight. She was watching to see if he would give up. The creatures circled him, their red eyes glowing with menace. Leo took a deep breath, his mind racing. He couldn't keep dodging forever. He had to take the fight to them. With a sudden surge of energy, Leo charged forward. He slammed his fist into the nearest creature's chest, sending it stumbling backward. The others hesitated for a moment, giving Leo the opening he needed. He spun around, kicking one in the side, and knocking it to the ground. But there were more. They kept coming. Leo's movements grew slower, more deliberate. His arms were heavy, his body aching. He couldn't let them get the Heartstone. He couldn't let them win. One of the creatures lunged at him from behind, its claws aimed directly for his throat. Leo twisted around just in time to grab its arm, using its own momentum to flip it over his shoulder and onto the floor. He didn't have time to think, only to react. Finally, after what felt like hours, the last of the creatures fell. Leo stood, panting, his body covered in sweat and bruises. The Heartstone was still safe. Kalira stepped forward, her eyes glowing with approval. "You did it," she said. Leo barely had the strength to respond. He could barely stand. But he had done it. He had passed another test. "Are you ready for the next one?" Kalira asked, her tone both teasing and serious. Leo closed his eyes for a moment, letting the exhaustion wash over him. Then he opened them again, locking eyes with her. "Let's go," he said, his voice steady. "I'm not done yet." Leo's body ached like it had been through a war. Each step felt heavy, his muscles tight and sore. But as much as he wanted to stop, he couldn't. Kalira's eyes were always on high, watching him, waiting to see if he would break. She had warned him that the trials would not end easily, and she was right. "You did well in the last trial," Kalira said, her voice soft but firm. "But you're not finished yet." Leo exhaled deeply, trying to steady his breathing. "How many more of these trials do I have to survive?" Kalira didn't answer directly. She simply motioned for him to follow her as she turned away and walked down a long hallway lined with glowing blue lights. The air in the palace felt cooler now, the oppressive heat of the arena replaced with the quiet stillness of the corridors. Leo's mind raced. What could possibly come next? He had already fought Istrak, defended the Heartstone, and survived the creatures that attacked him. He didn't know how much more he could handle, but he couldn't let that stop him. Not when everything he had done so far had been to prove one thing: to survive. As they walked, the path grew darker, the light dimming as they approached a door at the end of the hallway. It was large and carved from some kind of dark stone, the surface etched with unfamiliar symbols. Kalira paused before it and turned to Leo. "This is the final test," she said, her expression unreadable. "You will enter the chamber alone." Leo felt a cold chill run down his spine. "Alone?" He glanced at the door nervously. "What's inside?" "You will face your greatest fear," she replied. "What you see, what you experience, it's up to you. It's a test of your mind, not just your body. Do you have the strength to face what you fear the most?" Leo swallowed hard. Facing fear was something everyone did, but the idea of stepping into a chamber and having his deepest fears thrown at him all at once. He wasn't sure if he was ready for that, but he had no choice. This was the only way to prove himself. The door opened with a soft hiss, and Kalira stepped aside. "Go," she said. Taking a deep breath, Leo stepped forward. As soon as he crossed the threshold, the door closed behind him, and he was enveloped in complete darkness. His heart pounded as he stood still, the silence almost deafening. He couldn't see anything, couldn't hear anything. It was like the air itself was holding its breath. And then suddenly, it all changed. A light flickered in the distance, and he turned toward it. As he moved closer, the image of a battlefield came into focus. The ground was torn apart, the sky heavy with smoke. The sounds of explosions filled the air, and screams echoed from all around him. Leo's heart raced. This place, it looked like a war zone. He could see soldiers in the distance, their faces twisted with fear and anger. They were fighting something he couldn't see. He wanted to run, to get out of there, but his feet were frozen to the ground. Then he saw it. A massive alien beast, twice the size of a human, charging toward him with glowing eyes and sharp, jagged teeth. It roared, and Leo's instincts screamed at him to run, to fight, to do anything. But he couldn't move. His body was locked in place, his mind paralyzed with fear. The creature grew closer, its roar growing louder. Leo's breathing became shallow, his chest tightening. He could feel the terror gripping him. This was his fear. This was the moment he had always dreaded. The helplessness in the face of overwhelming danger. But then, something inside him stirred. He remembered the words Kalira had told him before. "Your mind is as strong as your body. You must learn to control it." With a shaky breath, Leo focused. He wasn't helpless. He had fought before. He had survived battles, dealt with dangers, and never once had he let fear control him. This time, he wouldn't let it win. Leo took a step forward, facing the creature head-on. His body still ached, his mind still screamed at him to run, but he pushed past the fear. The beast charged at him again, but this time, Leo didn't flinch. He stepped to the side at the last moment, using the creature's own momentum to send it tumbling forward. It was a simple move, but it worked. The creature howled in frustration, turning back to face Leo. But this time, Leo wasn't afraid. He didn't feel the terror. He just felt the drive to survive. The creature lunged again, but Leo was faster. He dodged its attack and leaped onto its back, using the creature's own strength against it. With a final twist, Leo brought the beast down, pinning it to the ground. As the beast lay defeated, Leo stood over it, panting heavily. The fear that had once paralyzed him was gone, replaced by a calm determination. He had faced his fear and conquered it. The battlefield around him vanished, replaced by a soft light. He was back in the chamber, standing alone in the silence. The door behind him opened once more, and Kalira entered, her gaze steady and proud. "You did well," she said. Leo barely had the energy to speak. "I don't know how, but I did it." Kalira smiled, a rare warmth in her eyes. "You didn't just defeat the beast, Leo. You defeated your own doubt." Leo stood in the quiet chamber, his body still humming with the aftereffects of his fight with his fear. The beast, the battlefield, and the chaos were all gone now, replaced by a calm that felt almost unnatural. He took a few deep breaths, trying to steady his racing heart. The sweat on his forehead was still fresh, but somehow he felt different now. Lighter, stronger, as if the trial had lifted a weight he didn't even know he was carrying. Kalira's voice broke the silence. "You've done what many others would not have been able to do." Leo turned to face her, trying to catch his breath. "That was intense. But I did it. I actually did it." She nodded, her expression still serious, but not without a touch of approval. "You faced your fear and overcame it. Now you are ready for the next phase of your trial." Leo blinked, confusion clouding his mind. Next phase. I thought that was it. Kalira walked closer, her steps echoing in the empty room. The trials are not just about defeating your physical limits or your mind. The final challenge will test your heart. My heart. Leo repeated, his brow furrowing. What does that even mean? Kalira paused for a moment, as if gathering her thoughts. It means you will have to choose. Your decisions will affect more than just your survival. They will shape your future, your alliance with us. Leo's heart skipped a beat. I'm not here to play games. I'm here to help, to show you that humanity can be trusted. I know, Kalira said, her voice softening. But you will learn that sometimes the hardest thing to do is to make the right choice when everything is on the line. Leo still didn't fully understand, but something in her words clicked. The intensity in her eyes showed that she wasn't just speaking about some theoretical idea. This was real. And whatever came next, Leo had to be ready. Follow me, Kalira said, her tone now more serious than before. Leo followed her down another long hallway, but this time, the atmosphere had changed. The air was thicker, and the walls felt more oppressive, as if they were closing in around him. He could feel the weight of the decision that was about to come. He didn't know what to expect, but he had to trust Kalira. She had led him this far, and he couldn't back down now. They reached a large set of doors that opened slowly with a deep, echoing sound. Inside, Leo was met with a sight that made his stomach twist. Two alien figures, one lying unconscious on a stone altar, the other standing beside it, eyes filled with fear and desperation. This is the heart of the challenge, Kalira said. The one on the altar is a high-ranking member of our council. He was injured during a skirmish with the rebels. The other is his daughter, who begs for your help. Her father will die without immediate medical treatment. Leo looked from the daughter to the council member. Both were Zevrian, but their fates now rested in his hands. The daughter stepped forward, her eyes wide with emotion. Please, she whispered, save him. He is everything to us. He is the only one who can restore balance to our people. Leo's chest tightened. This was the moment Kalira had warned him about. His decision could change everything. If he chose to help the council member, it might strengthen the Zevrian alliance. But if the rebels found out, it could tear everything apart. He looked back at Kalira, seeking guidance, but she only nodded silently, leaving the decision to him. What happens if I choose not to help? Leo asked, his voice low. If you refuse, Kalira answered, the council will see you as weak, and the rebels will see you as a traitor. They may turn against us all. Leo's mind raced. His decision wasn't just about saving one life. It was about the future of the entire planet. The weight of it all pressed down on him like 1,000 tons. I don't want to be responsible for the collapse of everything you've worked for, Leo said, his voice filled with uncertainty. Kalira placed a hand on his shoulder, her grip firm and reassuring. This is not a decision anyone else can make for you. What matters is that you choose from your heart. You must follow what you believe is right. Leo closed his eyes, trying to calm the storm in his mind. He had always been the type to act quickly, to jump into action. But now he realized he couldn't just rush into this decision. He had to think. He had to understand what was at stake. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Leo opened his eyes and walked toward the altar. The council member's breathing was shallow, his face pale, but Leo could see the faint pulse at his neck. Hasn't dead yet, but the question still remained. Could he risk everything to save this man? The daughter's pleading eyes followed him, and Leo turned to face her. He saw the fear in her gaze, the fear that if he chose wrong, it would mean the end of everything they had fought for. It wasn't just her father's life at stake. It was the future of her people. Taking a deep breath, Leo made his decision. He turned to Kalira. I'll do it. I'll save him. Kalira nodded silently, her eyes proud but filled with something deeper, something unspoken. She moved toward the altar, calling for the medical supplies that would help save the council member's life. Leo watched as the daughter's face lit up with relief. The decision was made. But even though he had chosen, a sense of dread still lingered in his chest. He had saved one life, but what would this choice cost him in the end? The decision had been made, and Leo stood by it. The council member was still unconscious, but Kalira's team of medical specialists had worked quickly. They had used advanced Zevrian technology to stabilize him. And now, as the man's breathing became more steady, Leo felt a sense of relief wash over him. He had made the right choice. At least he hoped so. Kalira stepped back from the altar, watching Leo with a calm expression. "You have saved him. You've done what needed to be done." Leo wiped the sweat from his brow. He was exhausted, both physically and mentally. The trials had pushed him to his limits, but Kalira was right. This was a test of more than just his body. It had been a test of his heart. And in the end, his decision had defined who he was and what he stood for. "I didn't do it for power," Leo said quietly, his voice hoarse from everything that had happened. "I did it because it felt right." Kalira smiled, her silver eyes gleaming. "That is why you passed. You did not choose based on fear, but on what you believed was best for everyone involved. That is what makes a true leader." Leo shook his head, feeling the weight of her words. "I don't feel like a leader. I'm just trying to survive." "You have already done more than that," Kalira replied, her tone softening. "Survival is the first step. What you do after, how you shape the future, that is what truly matters." Leo looked at the council member, still unconscious on the altar. The daughter, standing beside him, was holding his hand, her face filled with gratitude and relief. She had witnessed the moment Leo had chosen to help her father, and now she knew the weight of that decision. It wasn't just about saving one life. It was about keeping hope alive for the future of her people. "I don't know if I can live up to this," Leo muttered, turning away from the altar. "I'm not sure I'm ready for the responsibility." Kalira stepped closer, her voice quiet but firm. "You may not feel ready, but you